On Christmas Eve, when the entire city glittered with lights and laughter, the Kingston mansion, the grandest estate in the region, felt strangely hollow, as if the warm spirit of the holiday had never been allowed to enter its tall iron gates, and at the center of its emptiness stood billionaire businessman Jonathan Kingston, a man who had conquered the world with power, ambition, and relentless work, yet failed miserably at the one role that mattered most, being a father to his fragile, sick, 6-year-old daughter, Lily, who had been battling a rare immune disorder for the past 2 years. Jonathan believed that surrounding her with the best specialists, the most advanced machines, and round-the-clock nurses was enough to prove his love, but what he never understood was that the little girl, despite her sickness, wasn't asking for more doctors. She was quietly begging for her father's presence, his warmth, his laughter, something money could never buy. And then there was Mia, the young maid with tired hands and a heart far bigger than her small salary, who had stepped into this family not as an employee, but unknowingly as the light Lily desperately needed. Mia was only 24, humble, soft-spoken, struggling with her own burdens, yet she smiled every day, made Lily laugh, braided her hair, read her stories, and stayed by her bedside even after her shift ended because she saw in Lily the childhood she herself never had. That evening, Jonathan returned home earlier than expected after a tense business meeting, feeling restless and frustrated, thinking he would find Lily asleep and his mansion silent, but instead, he heard giggles, soft, joyful, real giggles, coming from Lily's room, a sound he hadn't heard in months, and when he instinctively walked toward the door, something inside him tightened. He pushed the door slightly and froze as a scene unfolded that felt like a punch straight to his soul. There was Mia, wearing a small Santa hat she must have bought from a roadside stall, sitting cross-legged beside Lily on the hospital-style bed, decorating the room with cheap fairy lights, paper stars, and little hand-drawn Christmas ornaments. Lily, weak but glowing with happiness, wore reindeer pajamas that Jonathan had never seen before, holding a tiny stuffed snowman in her lap while she laughed as Mia pretended to be Santa delivering secret gifts, even though the gifts were clearly handmade crafts wrapped in leftover newspaper tied with red ribbon. The room, once quiet and clinical, now felt warm, magical, alive, something money had never been able to create. Jonathan backed away slightly, hiding behind the door frame, unable to move as he watched Mia lift Lily carefully and let her place a tiny star on top of a small, cheap plastic tree they had set up on the bedside table. To Jonathan, the tree looked insignificant, even ridiculous compared to the massive real pine tree in the grand hall downstairs, but Lily clapped her hands and whispered, "It's perfect." And Jonathan felt a sharp sting in his chest because he realized his daughter was experiencing Christmas joy in a way he had never given her. He listened as Lily said softly, "Mia, thank you. I thought I wouldn't get Christmas this year," and Mia tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and replied with teary eyes, "As long as I'm here, you will never miss Christmas, sweetheart." And then Lily added something that shattered Jonathan completely, "I wish Papa would celebrate with me like this." Her voice cracked with innocent longing, and Jonathan felt something inside him collapse, because he had been so consumed with work and fear that he forgot how to simply be her father. Mia, with more grace than Jonathan expected, said gently, "Your papa loves you more than you know. He just doesn't know how to show it." Not knowing, Jonathan stood outside, hearing every word, his heart twisting with guilt. Mia then handed Lily a tiny red box, clearly handmade, with a little bracelet inside spelled with plastic alphabet beads forming the word hope, and Lily hugged Mia tightly, whispering, "You're like my Christmas angel," and that single moment broke Jonathan in a way nothing else ever had. He realized he had spent fortunes on medical treatments but never given Lily something as simple as a hug. Mia kissed Lily's forehead, gently hummed a lullaby, and stayed by her until she fell asleep, holding her hand as if she were her own child. When Mia finally stepped out of the room, she gasped softly to find Jonathan standing there, eyes red, chest heaving, tears streaming down his face, something no employee had ever witnessed. She panicked, apologizing, thinking she had overstepped, thinking she would be fired, stammering that she only wanted Lily to feel love for Christmas, but Jonathan shook his head, voice trembling as he whispered, "Thank you for giving my daughter something I never could." He admitted he didn't know how to be a father, that he had been afraid of losing Lily and worked himself into numbness, but Mia, wiping her own tears, simply said, "Sir, she doesn't need perfection. She needs presence." And Jonathan broke down, truly broke, realizing that the maid he barely noticed had been the one holding his daughter together while he hid behind his empire. With a shaky breath, he said words he never expected to say to an employee, "Mia, please teach me. Teach me how to be her father." And from that moment, Jonathan vowed to change, to show up, to sit beside Lily, to read her bedtime stories, to be the comfort she had always needed. But what Jonathan didn't know, what he would learn very soon, was that Mia's devotion to Lily came from a heartbreaking truth that would change everything, one that would break him even more than this night had. And before you go, if you want the rest of this emotional journey, if you love powerful, heart-touching stories like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel right now, because your support helps us bring meaningful stories that inspire millions.